Hello, hello, hello. Ooh,
Oh,
it
yay.
is.
Perfect.
Okay.
Hello. Welcome to our podcast.
Hello.
Welcome to our podcast. This is a great time.
This is a podcast.
This is a podcast.
Welcome. Okay, what are we doing?
This is so exciting. We are starting a podcast.
So, okay, I don't even know where we should start. Should we start with like why we wanted to do this, or like who we are?
I think we should do who we are as well as why, because I feel like we both kind of have different reasons for it.
Okay. Well, I'll go first since people think they're used to me. Right. Which, spoiler alert, none of you are. No, I think that so everything's new. As the podcast knows, the last place that we left off, Jason and I had just moved to Kansas City. Mm-hmm. So this was like June of 2019 or something like that.
Oh, such a good year.
So, right? We remember it fondly. Didn't know how good we had it. No, but I think June of 2019 was like the last time we recorded an episode. And lots of things have happened since then. If you will remember, one of the things that I didn't want one of my last episodes was like kids, and I now have a kid. So that's a strange turn of events. And yeah, I mean, we moved. We're still really happy in Kansas City. I am getting my real estate license and becoming a realtor soon. And then just trying to find like other creative outlets, and this is one that I kept coming back to, and I think we can talk more about this later, but like Val and I are very much want to have like our own creative outlets, and I think that this is one that always made me feel like myself and that I was always comfortable with. And so when I learned that you were kind of interested in seeing what other things were out there, I was like, oh, let's do this together. I've done it before, like we can totally do it again. And thankfully Lily, who will probably be on as a guest at some point but will not be a co-host for right now, gave us the blessing to like continue on with the name and the branding and all of that stuff. So yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at. Just have a new baby, still married, living in Kansas City, and just gonna be using this as like a good creative outlet for myself.
Good. I love it. Okay.
Now you.
Okay, here we go. So hello. Those who don't know me, I'm Valerie. I have never podcasted before, so this is all new and a little scary, but it's okay. I have a glass of wine to help a little bit. Okay, so here we go. I am working in the corporate world. I am a slave to corporate America. Living the dream. American dream.
The literal American dream.
Oh, man. Okay, so obviously we're working from home because of COVID, so I have been all in my head this entire year, I feel like. Mm-hmm. I feel like at the beginning of quarantine, I was living my best life. I was so healthy and positive and, all the things. But as time went on, I just kind of got in my head and I was like, what am I living for? Like, I'm living for corporate America. They give me a paycheck and then I move on. And I just do the same thing every day. Yeah. So I wanted to switch things up and I just didn't really know what to do with it. So I kind of skipped who I was and went straight to why I'm doing it. Basically.
That's fine.
So basically, I just wanted a way to help. I've just been through so much shit. And so I just wanted a way to creatively share with other people how I got through it and maybe help others get through it too. Yeah. Obviously, those are topics for another time. But I just really wanted to kind of share my experience and share how I got through the shit that I have been through, and kind of help others doing that. But because of like censorship is that even a word?
I don't even...
Being censored on Instagram is a thing. Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, like, they censor you so fast. And so I couldn't, like, fully be authentic and be myself on that platform as much as I wanted to. Mm-hmm. So that's why I wanted to do the podcast with you. And it honestly was kind of a joke when we first talked about it. I was like, yeah, let's do a podcast. Sure. So funny. No, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like because, I don't know, I feel like I agree with you that, like, in the beginning of quarantine, I was like, I'm going to use this time to, like, better myself. And I had all these expectations of, like, spending so much time with myself and, like, getting to know who I was. But I feel like who I was changed, like, 7 times in quarantine.
Yes, I feel the same way. I feel like I've gone through so many phases this
year. Just in this 1 year.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, I don't know, when you texted me and you were like, because, I mean, as the podcast goes on, you guys will learn, like, more about how, like, Val and I got to know each other. But mainly we were friends, like, on Instagram.
Right.
Primarily. Yeah. And then it was when everything sort of got really political this year, and you and I were sharing, like, some of the same opinions, that I think we felt more comfortable to be like, hey, you're one person in this sea of other people that thinks the same way as me. Mm-hmm. And so once we started, like, talking, and I started, like, incorporating some of my Instagram content to be, like, not like yours, but, like, you know, I was inspired by what you were doing, and I think, like, we were sort of that for each other.
Yeah.
But then Instagram sort of stopped being what both of us needed.
Yeah.
And then when you messaged me and kind of, like, expressed that you were feeling that way about Instagram, I was feeling the exact same way and just hadn't told anybody yet. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was, like, this moment where I was like, okay, I can be honest with her because she has so many of my same feelings anyway, and I can start this thing back up that I had honestly been thinking, like, what if I started the podcast again for a long time and just never wanted to do it by myself.
Yeah.
And then when you were like, I wish there was something else, like maybe a blog or like a website or something, I just was thinking in my head, like, just make a joke about the podcast. Just make a joke about it and see how she responds to it.
It worked.
So I'm like, I'm just glad that we're, like, the same person in that way, where we can, like, be like, haha, what do you think about this?
And then we're like, fuck it, let's do it.
Right, and run with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I wanted to create another community that was more open and honest and just kind of, like, jokes around, because that's who I am. I joke around all the time. I joke when it's inappropriate. Like, I literally joke when it's not the time.
Yeah.
And I just feel like a community that I can be myself is just going to benefit me and then also benefit who I want to help. Because I don't know, I feel like your 20s is just really hard.
Yeah.
And you go through things you don't expect, so.
Yeah. And I think, too, like, everybody goes through something different in their 20s, because I feel like as you get older, if you're following societal norms, then your life starts to look more and more like what you would expect it to. But I feel like your 20s is, like, this time where you're figuring everything out, so really anything could happen. And everybody has such different experiences, especially in their 20s, of, like, what life was like when they got out of high school, and then what life was like when they lived by themselves on their own for the first time. And, like, I don't know, I think that your 20s are just an interesting time to document in a way like this, because it's so different for everyone, you know?
Yeah, it definitely is. And then it's like you grow up and you think that you're going to have your shit together by this age, and then you get here and you're like, oh my God, what is happening? I have no idea what is going on.
Well, even, like, I thought even a couple years ago, like, oh yeah, I'll have, like, my shit figured out or whatever. And now I'm like, oh my God, am I ever going to have my shit figured out?
I'm truly convinced that nobody ever has their shit figured out. Ever.
Yeah, I
even,
don't
like,
think
the
so.
most successful people who's super... Bill Gates.
Yes.
He does not have his shit figured out. He's probably so confused.
Yeah. He pays people to figure his shit out. That's what
exactly.
he does.
They have so much money that they don't have to figure it out themselves.
Right.
Man.
That must be so nice.
Living the dream.
No, I think that, like, too, another thing that taught me that exact thing of, like, probably nobody has it figured out was all these expectations that I had of, like, when I became a mom, how I would feel, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think I felt like there would be, like, a different version of me as a mom, you know?
Yeah.
When really, like, it's not like that at all. I do have like some opinions that are different because everybody in the world now to me is somebody else's kid. Mm-hmm. And so that's like a hard lens to see things through, you know? But aside from that, like, I feel like the exact same person. And I think that we put these expectations on ourselves. Like, even my mom was saying, I thought I would feel different being a grandma versus a mom, and I don't. Like, you know? Yeah. And I think it's so funny.
Does she feel different?
No, she doesn't. Like, she said, like, you know, it's fun to be a grandma, but she was like, I don't feel different. Like, I didn't feel, she also said, like, she didn't feel different when she became my mom. She was, like, still her. Yeah. She was just a mom now. And, like, that's how I feel. Like, I'm still me, but I'm a mom. And she's still her, but she's a grandma. You know? It's just weird how we think that, like, these different labels, like, adult or mom or whatever are mean that we're going to have anything figured out, you know?
Yeah, because they all sound so much more sophisticated than they actually are.
Yeah. Like, mom really just means that, like, I birthed and, like, am raising a kid. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that I'm different at all or, like, inherently have anything figured out at all.
I mean, it does make you, like, a goddess of life. Because you recreated a human being.
I mean, another story for another time. No, but, yeah, I think, like, we expect ourselves to be so different, and then it's like, oh, I'm not, you know?
Yeah. I feel like everything is just always a different version of yourself, and then you just kind of have to figure out how to get through that phase.
Yeah.
And then move on to the next one, and then, you know.
Yeah.
Just,
That makes me think about, like, New Year's resolutions since, like, we're coming up on the new year. And this year is the first year that my New Year's resolution is to, like, not have a New Year's resolution.
I was kind of thinking the same thing the other day. Every single year, I put so much pressure on myself to do these goals.
Yes.
And and, like, of course I'm going to have, like, aspirations. But, like, I feel no pressure to, like, change anything drastically, I guess.
Right.
I mean, this is kind of drastic, but
well,
you know,
but
doing
this
a podcast.
isn't. Yeah, but this is like something that you're doing for fun. It's not something that you're like making yourself do.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. It's more of a fun time rather than something serious that I have to do.
Right. Yeah. And I think that like for me, New Year's resolutions have always been like I'm gonna start a diet or I'm gonna read this many books or I'm gonna like it's a hard number that I can stick to, you know? And I think right now I'm, like, kind of like, you know, all those memes that have been going around that are like, if all you did in 2020 was survive, that's okay.
Yes.
That's how I'm feeling about 2021, too. I'm like, I have no expectations. I mean, I know I want good to come out of 2021, but I'm like, however that's going to come to me is how it's going to come to me. Like, I'm not putting any expectations or pressure on anything. Yeah. Like, whatever I do is going to be because I want to do it, and that's it.
That's honestly, I feel like that's going to be the best mindset to go into 2021. Yeah. Because we all had so much high expectation for 2020. Yeah. Because we were like, it's the roaring 20s. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a great time. Right. And it's going to be the best year. It's going to be my best year of my life. Mm-hmm. And we get home from our New Year's trips and everything is like falling apart already. Yeah. And it was a huge disappointment to not be able to do some of those goals. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if we all just kind of go into the next year being like, I just want to enjoy what I can and like live my life. Right. I feel like we'll all feel so much better at the end of the year.
Yeah, and I feel like honestly this year, I know before we started recording we talked about like maybe bringing up some things about 2020, like everybody knows it sucked, but like other things about 2020 that we like maybe weren't expecting. And I wasn't expecting, like, the deep appreciation that I would have for, like, mundane things now. Right. Like, when I get to go, like, sit in a Starbucks for a little while and, like, work on something.
Oh, it's glorious.
That's so exciting to me now. Yeah. You know? Or, like, even when I remember the first time that I, like, just went on a drive in quarantine. Yeah. And just drove around. That was so exciting. Yeah. Because I was just seeing different things and, like, seeing people and even, like, Jason and I's road trip, we used to go on, like, 3 or 4 road trips a year together, and so not having left the state at all this year has been, like, so hard for us. Right. And so even just road tripping here, like, that trip is usually so long, and we're, like, taking naps, and we're listening to our own podcasts in our headphones and kind of just getting through it. But this trip, we, like, weren't really listening to much the way there. Like, we were just kind of either looking out the window and, like, silently enjoying, like, being in the car together, or we were talking about things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just didn't enjoy just existing before.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know?
the same way. And I think that's a part of the reason why I wanted to start the podcast, is because I had stopped really posting on social media, because this whole time, like the past couple years, I've been heavily focused on social media and trying to build a community through my Instagram and TikTok and all the things. Mm-hmm. And I got to a point where I was like, it's like not working like I wanted to anymore.
Right.
And I felt like I wasn't living
mm-hmm.
To the potential that I could be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of stopped posting, and I stopped really documenting every single thing about my life. And I feel like I've been more in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of, like, what 2020 has taught me, is to just be in the moment, you know? And so I don't know how that kind of ties into creating a podcast, but it's just a different type of platform where I don't feel like I need to invest my entire life into it.
Right. And I think, too, like, a podcast is good because it's not, at least the way that we're doing it, it's not like me behind my phone editing a picture of myself, creating a caption that's about me.
Right.
Like, it's me talking to you and, like, us talking about things that are going on in the world. I feel like there was a certain point I got to with social media where it felt shallow, but primarily because it was only about me all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, unless people were interacting with me, it wasn't about anybody else, you know?
Right.
Because if you're a creator, if you're a content creator, you're not just spending all your time scrolling and watching stories. Like, you do, but it's not, I don't know, when I'm creating content, I scroll a lot less, you know?
Me too.
And I think that it takes the social part away from social media. It's like all about you so that you can put out your content.
Right. And people were always like, oh, you're probably on Instagram so much and you're probably always scrolling. And I honestly spent all of my time, like, talking to people behind the scenes.
Yes.
And so it was good to make connections, and I still do, obviously. But I am enjoying not spending so much time talking about myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
It's nice to have a break and just, like, you know, comment on other people's posts, see what is going on with other people, rather than just, like, creating so much about myself.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how I feel, too. And, like, interacting, I feel like I've been interacting with people's posts a lot more than I was in the past.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
So, I don't know. I think that, like, I'm just in this stage of, like, reevaluating. I know I want to create something and put something out there, and I don't know, this just felt more right to me than Instagram was these days.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just kind of, social media is kind of toxic right now with everything going on, like, politically and pandemically.
Yeah, politically and pandemically.
And so it's just nice to, like, talk and be in a space, like, we don't look at our phones during this.
Right.
You know, like, we're just talking. And it's just kind of nice.
Yeah.
And if you want to listen, that's cool. If you don't, you know, that's
we're
cool
still
too.
Gonna make it. Yeah.
Don't listen if you don't want to.
I think it'll be nice too because, like, one of my favorite podcasts is called Chatty Broads, and it's Becca Martinez, who was in a season of The Bachelor, Ari's season of The Bachelor. I don't know if you watch that at all.
I wasn't a fan at that time.
Yeah,
I am now.
But anyway, so she got shit on a lot for, like, she was really young and she, like, has, like, really short hair and was, like, the first girl on The Bachelor to have, like, that short, like, pixie, like, haircut style. Anyway, she just always was sort of, like, a go against the grain type of person. Like, when she left The Bachelor, she, like, went to go work on a weed farm. Like, she's really, like,
I was not expecting that.
Like, she's really outlandish. But now I love her. She's, like, my favorite Instagram influencer. That's my favorite podcast. Like, she's great. But she and her podcast host just kind of knew each other, like, through their friends, and they hung out, like, in social things and, like, followed each other on Instagram and interacted on Instagram. But really where they built, like, their deep, like, because they've been doing the podcast for, like, 200 episodes or something like that now. Wow. And really where they, like, built their, like, friendship was on the podcast because they, like, had a rapport established, and so it was fun to listen to them, but they didn't know like, I don't know the ins and outs of your childhood or the
Right.
things
Yeah,
that you've been through.
that's a good point.
You know?
Because I don't know about yours either.
Yeah, and so we have enough of a rapport where, like, we're going to feel comfortable, like, talking about things, but we're not going to, like, know so many things up front that when I'm finding things out about you, it'll sound artificial, or, like, I'll be learning the things about you along with the audience and vice versa.
Right.
So I think it'll be a nice, like, balance. You know?
I agree. I never thought about it from that perspective.
Yeah, and I think it'll bring us closer, and, like, that's something that I feel like Instagram wasn't doing for me anymore. Like, it wasn't bringing me closer to people anymore.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
think a part of that is, like, I feel like people are just so sick of it.
Yeah.
People are just wanting to not really even be on it. So how are you supposed to make connections on Instagram when people don't even want to look at people's content anymore?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Anyways, I feel like this will be a really good way to build the community that I'm wanting in my head, that I've always wanted but just didn't really know how.
Yeah. Same. Well, when you say, like, the community that you've always wanted, what does that, like, look like for you?
Oh.
What do you think about?
Deep question.
I know, right?
Oh, here we go. We're diving in.
Okay.
I don't know. So, this is gonna get deep. Apologies in advance. So, I am a victim of sexual assault. Obviously, that we will go into more detail on a later episode. I wanted this one to be more lighthearted. But, so I have always been like, how do I not know? Like, I know other people go through it. I know so many girls who have also been a victim of it. And I want to, like, help other people get through it because I obviously got through it, you know. I'm here. I'm fine.
Right.
I have my moments, but, you know.
We all do.
But I've always wanted a community where, like, we can just help each other and support each other and, like, not talk about it all the time because I feel like no one wants to, like, sit around and talk about it. But, like, just uplift each other and be, like, a positive environment for each other. But also just kind of create a safe space for people because there's so many situations where girls don't feel comfortable telling anyone, like, not even themselves, really. Like, I've known a couple people who literally just never even admitted it to themselves, but, you know, we know it happened.
Yeah.
And so something that I just really want to do is just create a safe area for that type of conversation. And if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to talk about it, but, like, just kind of be there for you. And I never really understood how to do that. Until when I messaged you and you were like, oh yeah, podcast. And I was like, wait, that's a great area to start, I feel like. Because I was like, should I start a blog? Should I start a website? Should I do, like, an anonymous mail in your story type thing? Which would be much more difficult than I would make it. So yeah, that's kind of, I don't know, does that, like, explain?
No, it does. Like, I think that I think the same thing. Like, I want a community of people who can, like, come with, like, all the shit and baggage that they have, like, no matter what that is, and feel like they're not going to be made to be uncomfortable. Because, like, my background with, like, abuse and all of that is a little bit different, and I think that for me, when I'm in certain social situations, people that don't know that about me are, like trigger me very easily, I guess. And I hate using the word trigger, but it's the only word I can think of right now.
Doesn't it sound so aggressive?
It does.
It's so aggressive.
And it's like, it's not aggressive like that. It's just a little...
It literally is like a little light switch that turns on a bad feeling.
Yes, that's all it is. It's not any, like, explosion in your brain. It's just literally somebody opens, like, the door to all of those thoughts. Yeah, and I think that for me, like, a lot of the abuse that or what I perceived as abuse in my life was surrounded by, like, drug and alcohol abuse too. And so I think that for me, when I'm in social situations, I'm not somebody, like, I'm drinking wine right now. I'm not somebody who, like, you know, that part of it isn't what is quote unquote triggering for me. It's like how you act when you are under the influence of those substances. So if I'm around somebody, like, you know, I don't know, a friend that I have or something like that who is, like, really angry when they're intoxicated or really, which I can be, because that's like what I went through. So I have to be careful about that. But if I'm around somebody who's that way, it just is very triggering for me. Right. And I feel like, especially when we're young, so much of our social situations are involved with drugs and alcohol. Like, you just kind of can't get around that, you know? And so I kind of have to tread lightly with, like, who I'm going to drink with and who I'm going to, like, party with, because you just don't know how people are going to be. And for me, somebody being that way can, like, send me into a tailspin for days. Right. And so I would like to build a community of people who, like, are thoughtful with their actions in a way that, like, they just want to make sure that the people around them are comfortable. Yeah. And, like, that's what I would like to build here, is, like, people being able to come to us and tell us whatever they want because they're just comfortable to. Yeah. Whether it's serious or not, you know? And I think that, I don't know, I think that that's what's going to be good about us trying to, like, do this, is just trying to be more mindful about, I don't know, I feel like you and I are very good people for, like, trying to keep
mindfulness,
sensitivities in mind. Yeah.
Being mindful of what you're saying, right, and doing, and actions that you're doing, because a lot of people, they're wilding out here.
Right. And they're just thinking about, like, themselves in the moment, and they're not thinking, like, how is this going to make other people around me feel, you know? And I just would like to build a community that's, like, more conscious, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's do it.
I know, right? High five. Let's start a podcast or something.
It's like we should totally start recording. And, like,
I know. It's insane.
Oh, my goodness.
No,
so
but
funny.
I think it's going to be really good. And I think you and I are both, like, health focused in the same way that, like, we just want to live healthy, happy lives. We don't really care, like, what that, I don't know. I
what it looks like.
Yeah, I feel like
what we look like.
Yes, what we look like more like. Or, like, you know, I think that there's, everybody's brand of, like, health is different, and I just think that, like, you and I align a lot on that, and just, like, you know, it's more important to feel good in your body than to look, quote unquote, good in your body. Yeah. And I think that that's another thing that, like, I don't know, I just feel like doesn't get preached on podcasts a lot. Like,
it's all over Instagram, because you know, everyone's trying to be an influencer
right
here. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't listen to podcasts honestly that often, which I guess I should, but
I mean, not necessarily.
But I don't know. I feel like that's a good. We both have a really good mindset of what our best version of ourselves is, and that does not include, like, obsessing over our diet, you know?
Yeah.
And we're just mainly focused on what we feel on the inside, and, you know, if you look better on the outside because of that, great. Cool. But, like, that's not the goal.
Yeah. And I think, too, like, we're both people who are, like, not overly concerned about, like, we know what decisions we want to make for ourselves, and we're not trying to, like, shove that down other people's throats. Right. Like, we're trying to be like, this is what I know and what I think, and if you like that, that's cool, and if you don't, cool. That's cool. Yeah.
But also tell me your reason, because
because I do want to know your reason behind it.
Yeah, that is something that I want to be better about for myself. I guess this year. It's not a resolution, but, like, just in general, is just trying to hear people out more and, like, get their opinion of why they feel a certain way, because I feel like I, you know, preach all day, you know, listen to others and all that stuff, but, like, sometimes I'm not as good as doing that myself, you know? Yeah. So that definitely is something I want to take into this next year, too. So we'll definitely be, like, asking people's opinions and asking what they want to hear, and, you know, also being able to tell us their opinion about the episode, what we talked about.
Right. And their opinion about, like, our opinion, too. I think it would be fun to, like, have people write things in, and then we can, like, respond to it on the next episode, and then they can be like, well, I actually thought this. And I don't know. I think it'll be cool. But one thing that we wanted to ask the listeners.
My mom, basically.
Right. Our moms who are listening to this, our moms and our partners, is what do you all want to hear about? Because Val and I have some ideas of, like, little segments that we think could be fun, but we really want to know, like, we want to make this a legitimate community, not just the Val and
talking.
Allison podcast. Yeah. So we want to know, like, what things are you interested in hearing about? And what topics should we, like, talk about frequently? And I don't know, just...
Yeah, like, what is something that you wish you could hear somebody else's opinions on?
Yeah.
Like, have you gone through something that I feel like I'm in a commercial.
Right.
Have you gone through something that you would like some advice on? Please enter in on our Instagram. No, but for real. Like, tell us what you want to hear us talk about. Ask us if we've gone through it. Most likely we probably have, because I'm 26 now.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, like, and if we haven't, then if you're comfortable with us, like, sharing it on the air, then probably somebody else has, you know?
Like, sharing people's stories.
Yeah.
That would be, I would love to do that. I mean, we can always keep it anonymous, too. We don't have to tell everybody.
We could do, like, just a, like, little anonymous, even if people, like, need suggestions for something. Even if you, like, need suggestions for, like, an outfit for a date, send them to our Instagram, and we'll put, like, a little poll up and crop your face out and be like, outfit 1 or outfit 2. Like,
which one?
I really would like to do that and be like, you know, so-and-so, that, like, our listener so-and-so is getting ready for a date. Which outfit do you like better? Like, that would be, just those little things would be so fun, but we don't know, like, what those little things...
What people want.
Would be, yeah, unless you tell us.
So 20-somethings, or older, or younger, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Whoever. What do you want to hear?
Yeah.
What do you want us hear us talk about, discuss?
Mm-hmm. And it can be, like, we were talking earlier, it doesn't have to be 20-something, like, age-wise, like, 20-something, like, this decade. Yeah, like, what was something that...
We're in the beginning.
Right.
But, yeah. We have just started,
We have just begun, yeah. Like, what's something that you, like, hope for over the next decade, or, I don't know, just, like... This is 20-something. We don't know what it is. You have to tell us.
You guys are the boss.
Right. We're just here for the ride.
We're just here to deliver.
Right. You guys know that you had to do all the work, right? We're just going to record it.
Don't you know you signed up for this?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I don't know. I think maybe for next week we should just maybe go a little bit more in depth about, like, our, like, how we got to know each other, mm-hmm. and, like, what all of that was like for us, and just build from there. I think that I think people will, like, be interested to hear more just about us in general and, like, get to know us before we start with the heavy stuff.
I totally accidentally forgot to say all of, like, the things that make me me.
Well, okay, let's think about some. Daisy.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Back to square one.
Right.
Welcome. You're in the first minute of this podcast again.
Right.
I am, you know, obviously 20-something. I'm 26. I just had my birthday. I'm on my own health insurance.
Yay!
Oh, gosh. So Daisy is the light of my life. She is my cat. She is a calico queen, and she is just ruling the world out here more than I am. Mm-hmm. As of right now, she is probably under my bed. So, yeah.
As for her whereabouts, we are unsure.
I have a boyfriend. We've been dating for almost 3 years. And we have some exciting future plans coming up, which I probably should wait to kind of announce. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. But we do have some exciting things coming up. Other than that, I hang out with my roommate, Katie. She's, like, my best friend.
Aww.
And that's pretty much it. I work from home. So my life, honestly, is not that exciting.
Well,
but that's who I am.
We have all the time to do this. Because the other part of this is, like, you live in Georgia and I live in Missouri, so... For this episode, we're in person, but all the other episodes will have to be remote.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting, too, because you'll have things going on here that I won't know about, and I'll have things going on there that you won't know about.
Right.
And kind of swap stories about stuff.
Yeah. And then you guys will actually get to know me and not just know that I have a cat.
Right. Well, and people will get to, like, know me better now, too, because I swear.
I know, you took a huge break from the last time you talked to all of your listeners.
Yeah, and I feel like I wasn't even the same person, like, at all back then.
I mean, yeah, you did not want kids, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like, we weren't even sure that we ever wanted to have kids, and now I'm like, my kid is absolutely everything. So
she's so cute.
I don't know. I'm excited. I think we're two happy people, and it's going to be exciting to like get to know each other better and get to do this together.
I agree. And we can just bring some positivity to this whatever of a year we're going to have. We don't know. Mm-hmm. If it's great, we're going to, bring you along for the ride.
Yeah.
And if it's terrible, we'll be there.
Right. We'll still bring you along for the ride.
We'll be able to tell you all of our crazy things.
Yeah. Let's do like a little call to action for next week's podcast so that when people listen to this, they have like a specific thing to write about back to us.
Yes.
So what if we ask people to give us like, if they are making a New Year's resolution, like if they are, why or why not, basically.
Right.
Like we obviously said we're not really doing like a solid here's my resolution because we're just not putting much pressure on forcing things this year.
Right.
But I would be interested, like I'm sure people do have some really solid resolutions for 2021, and I would be interested in hearing like if you have one, why, and like what that is. You know?
And if you don't, why not?
Yeah. Because I'm sure people don't have them, but for different reasons than why we don't,
Especially this year. I feel like this past year was a turning point for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So it would be interesting to see, like, what everyone's perspectives are for this upcoming year.
Yeah.
Like, what is your kind of focus, perspective?
Yeah. all the astrologers say that 2020 is supposed to be, like, this portal that opens us up into, like, a new way of living and like thinking.
Whoa.
And I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm like open to it.
I'm open to that. Honestly, sure. Why not? Yeah. We all needed a change.
Right.
We all needed a little turning point. Things were getting a little dark there.
Yeah.
So sure.
So if it's a opening into a new era of like positive being, then like I am cool with that.
I'll take it.
Sure. So let us know if you have New Year's resolutions, why you do, why you don't, and if you do, what they are.
And to do that, go to our Instagram.
Yeah, it's at thisis20pod. And we'll add it in the description of this episode.
Is it spelled out? Because I know people like my mom will ask.
Yeah, let me actually go to it and double check.
Mom.
It's been a minute since I did this little social media sign off. So I'm trying to remember. I used to have a whole script written out. It was like, find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at thisis20pod.
Oh, so cute, so professional.
Yeah, I like had a whole speech. I'll have to rememorize it. But yeah, it's this is 20pod. So this is the words, and then 20 spelled out TWENTY. Pod, Pod. And that's across all social media platforms. So
perfect. Instagram,
Twitter, Facebook, all of it. And then I think we might start incorporating some YouTube.
Oh, yes.
Like putting it up on YouTube, too.
Yes. Let's do it. Also, I think we should drop our Instagram handles, our personal ones.
Yes, good idea.
Because some people don't know who I am.
Yeah.
And we might have some new followers,
and you'll have people that listen for you that don't know who I am.
Right. So here we go.
That's perfect. Do yours first.
Oh, I should honestly have mine memorized, but I don't.
I know.
It is at val.burns, BYRNES. It's not Bynes or Byrons. It is val.burns, BYRNES.
Perfect.
Boom. That's my handle. I'm mainly on Insta, so I'm not really on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not really on Twitter either. And I'll probably make Jason be in charge of our Twitter because I don't want to do it. Who cares? Anyway, I'll check it, you guys. Don't worry. Don't write in about that. It's fine.
Write into our Instagram because that's where we're going to be.
And then my personal one is Allison R. Carpenter. So ALLISON, the letter R, Carpenter, CARPENTER. So
perfect.
And same thing, just Instagram. I don't do shit on Twitter.
Me neither. I've started doing TikTok, but
I know.
I'm not famous yet.
I've made like 3 TikToks. I think I have like 30 likes. It's like nothing.
It's fun though. It's all fun and games.
It is. Well, thank you guys for listening to, I think we're calling this one, This is 20-something again, right?
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, so thanks
Sure.
for listening to this first episode again.
Thank you. I'm
we're
so excited.
I know. I'm so happy you're doing this with me. I'm so
Me
excited.
too.
So.
I can't wait to see what we talk about, who, supports us, and what content we can produce for people.
I know. It's so exciting. So, okay, we will see you guys next time, and cue whatever outro music we pick after we finish recording this.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.